Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Unemployed to Unstoppable with Cove Rangers up in Scotland, where we are currently in the Championship following a good first couple of seasons, looking to challenge at the top of the table and get promotion. And we had a fantastic start last season, 10 games in, we were right up close to Falkirk. Things come off a little bit, but we'll get into what's happened, why, and see if we can recover. Welcome back. So there we go. Currently sat second in the table behind Falkirk, who are a good 12 points clear. We left you 10 games gone. We're back with 10 games to go. I'm not sure we can pull in a 12-point swing in 10 games. We'll do our best. Falkirk have been in unbelievable form. They've only lost 2 games. One of them was to us. And with 18 wins, they're well clear at the top. So realistically, we're just looking at staying in that second, third, fourth spot somewhere ahead of St Johnstone, who are currently in 5th. That's a bit of a 9-point gap there, so a 9-point gap with 10 games to go. We should be relatively safe. Squad's been all right following a real blip when we got into that kind of November, December period, which I'll take you through in the fixtures in a minute. But we've recovered somewhat over the last couple of games, and we're ready to put a real push to try and get us into at least that second spot ahead of St Mirren. So looking into the fixtures and where we've gone, I think we left you. We go 3, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, probably after Livingston, Montrose. We'd won a lot of games. We were flying high. Into that October-November period, it all just started really falling apart. We picked up a couple of draws. I mean, we drew with Dunfermline and Hamilton, which in isolation aren't terrible results. But when you start putting them together, them 2 results, either side of the Falkirk game, which gave them as a 3-point gain on us, a draw with Ayr, a loss in Inverness Cali Thistle, which was pretty damaging. We just really went off the boil, and it carried on through November, much of December, although we started to pull it back up. We did do a little bit of a formation change at one point to try and stop the rot. We dropped back into a defensive midfielder, went down to 1 striker, just to try and get a couple points on the board. But we've very much switched back to a 2-striker system now. We picked up some wins at Hamilton, Montrose, Ayr. A draw with Falkirk, which was a good result, albeit we haven't gained any points on them following that match, but we didn't take any more of a damage to our position. Livingston was a frustrating one. We played them in the Cup. You can see there we got beat on penalties. I'm not sure what the score is in there. It's 7-6. Unfortunately, when it went to penalties, the game froze, and there was nothing I could do. The only way I could get out of it was the instant result. So I watched the whole game up in the 0-0 in the extra time. But unfortunately, I couldn't watch the penalties, which maybe it would have been a slightly different result. But all told, in terms of the Scottish Cup, it's still a good run, and going out to Livingston's no great shame. But we'll play them next, hopefully get a bit of revenge as we go into this 10-game run-in, of which we get to play Falkirk once. So in terms of that 12-point swing, that one game could maybe get us down to 9. And then it's maybe picking up some of the games around it if we can do any damage along the way. Their form's particularly great. Ours is off the boil a little bit. In terms of the squad itself, pretty settled. I don't think there's anything too shambolic in here. There's a couple issues in terms of longevity with a number of players wanting to leave. And if we go through that first, in terms of players who are expired, Alex Ferguson won't sign a new contract. He's opting to move on a free transfer in the summer, which is frustrating. Joseph McGrath wants away as well. He's got some potential. Ben Goodliff, we're not too concerned about Ben Goodliff. He's like a 3rd, 4th choice centre half, so that's fine. Sean Rooney at the higher end at 32 with not much potential range left in him. He can go. Evan Towler is one we maybe will offer a new contract, and then Jose Calais, who is the black sheep of the Code Rangers squad. I signed him, and he still never played a game for us because of the work permit rules. So we'll see what we can do with that. Outside that, even moving into the year after's contracts, you've already got Lewis Monsma. He wants away. He's going to move on a free transfer in a year's time or 18 months' time. Brooklyn and Fonko, he's also agreed to leave on a free in 18 months' time. And I don't know where this trend of players deciding they're going for a free 18 months ahead are, and I don't know what I can do in terms of trying to sell him and get him off the books, but that's been a real frustration in terms of the long-term squad building. Short-term, we're all right because we're living off free transfers, and we've done relatively well with the transfers we made. Coming into the January window, we've not really made any transfers. I've dipped into the free transfer market to maybe bring in one more midfielder. And then Cleland, who was our 3rd choice striker up top, He's gone back from his loan spell. It was only for 6 months, and we're just running on the two now, which is Etete and Adeyemo. So they're doing all right in terms of the fixtures and the players who played the most. No surprise, Harvey Davies, the goalkeeper. He's our most appeared player. He's always going to be first choice on the team sheet. We elected not to really sign a reserve keeper for the season and run with one of the youngsters, which has paid off for us because he's played the majority of all games. So he's been a really shrewd signing. He's still got a little bit of potential growth in him. Only 25 years old, so if we can keep him long term, that's one piece of the puzzle we don't have to worry about too much. In terms of the goals, Toby Adeyemo, he's actually outscored Etete at the minute, mostly due to some injuries surrounding Etete, but I think he's done really well. 23-year-old Nigerian, playing as a 2 up top. His average rating's well in the 7s, which is good. And we just need to keep them two firing as we run in towards the end of the season. I think where we're maybe a little bit weak is formation-wise, by playing 2 up top and sacrificing a bit of control in the middle. We're giving up a couple more goals than we maybe should. Whether we can out-strengthen that with a bit of strengthening in midfield, I'm not sure. Maybe there's a couple of tactical tweaks, but I don't really want to switch back to a one-striker system because I like the fact that we can get a couple of players getting into double figures quite comfortably. In terms of the assists, Kian Etete, he might not have the maximum goals at the minute, but he's certainly contributing as well from the assist side. So you can see there he already had, I think, 7 games shy of Adeyemo, but 9 goals in 19 games in the Championship. Again, well in the 7s in terms of average. And if we can keep the 2 strikers and the goalkeeper, maybe we've got a bit of longevity in us yet. Nothing's come through in terms of job offers in the Premier League or anything. So we're still running on where we are. So that's the squad as a whole, really. And in terms of the player who we might be bringing in, if he's still in there, in fact, no, he's gone somewhere else. So unfortunately, no more players in the January transfer window. We are looking at getting Kalea out on loan, but I think the squad is what the squad is. We just got to run it towards the end of the season and see if we can make up some ground. So I'm locked in after a busy week and not getting to it as much as I would have wanted to. Locked in to get through these final 10 games, see where we finish at the end of the season. I'll bring you some goals as we go along, any key results, and then we'll have a bit of a review where we are to see if we can get into the playoffs and maybe sneak our way into the SPFL. So I'll see you shortly. And the 10-game run-in has started with a goal for Cove Rangers. A corner well worked from the recycle into Ferguson. He'll take a touch and then he smashes it into the back of the net. So in terms of 10-game run-in, we get the first goal. Let's see if we can get the last as well. And Kian Etete has got in on the action within the first 7 minutes. We find ourselves 2-0 up at home to Livingston in what is a fantastic start to this final run-in. I'll join you again at the end of the match to see if we can see it out. But this might well be the first of 3 points in what we're looking to maximise the run-in as much as we can. And in a devastating and unexplainable turn of events, we've gone on to lose the game 5-2 despite having 76% possession, more shots on target, higher XG, more corners, and somehow we've come out of the game 5-2 down. Some of our players still playing in the 7s as well, so I'm a bit perplexed how this, and there's no rhyme nor reason to it because we still had the better chances in amongst it, but in terms of a start to this 10-game run-in, that I think that all but kills off the chance of getting top spot, and now it's purely damage limitation to make sure we stay in them 3 playoff spots. So not the greatest of starts, but I will update you through the next few games. And in another game with similar stats, so we've dominated possession, we've come away with a 3-2 victory, 3-0 up this time, giving away some late goals to make it a little bit more uncomfortable than I would like, but 3 points on the board and the running will continue. Beating Dunfermline's pretty good, they're in 8th near the bottom of the table. It keeps us 3 points ahead of Hamilton. We're currently 5 points ahead of St Mirren, and the one we want to watch out for is St Johnstone on 43 points, us on 51, so we're 8 points gap on them. Still 12 points off the top, which I think is still a bit unsurmountable, but we'll continue. I'll bring you the next result as and when it comes in. And in the big one in terms of playoff positions, at home to St Johnstone, Adeyemo with a lovely finish from just inside the box into the far corner. Puts us 1-0 up after a minute and 56 seconds, and this is huge. If we can get this result in, I think the playoffs are all but confirmed for us. So fingers crossed, and we'll see how we get on at the end of the game. And in terms of the playoff place, it does not get much bigger than this for us on the run-in. A 3-1 victory at home to St Johnstone all but kills off their chance of really catching us up. I mean, they've still got a chance to get into the playoffs. 54 points, still 12 points off top. But in terms of St Johnstone, who were on 43, who are now 11 points clear with just the 6 games left, I think. I think it's 6 games left. I'll just have a quick check. Might be 7. Might be 7. I think we've played 3. Let me just check the fixture list, and we'll make a snapshot where we think. I mean, that would be 21 points, 11 points clear. We'll let Otto go away on loan. But in terms of that fixture list, Montrose next, then the big one against Falkirk. So 7 games left. It's huge games ahead of us. I think if we can get past Montrose, put some real pressure on Falkirk, we'd then have the 15 points up for grabs. If we can get it down to 9, I mean, still it's probably a push too far unless Falkirk slip up ahead of the Falkirk game, and we can maybe get it down to 6. But I mean, it's a big ask. Asking us to win 7 straight, well, it would be 9 straight victories is a bit of a push. We can score goals, but we're also quite open to conceding. But I'll get through the Montrose game, and then we'll see how we line up for Falkirk. And Toby Adeyemo has capped off a 4th goal against Montrose in what looks like it'll be a 4-1 victory. Lovely little chest down, volley into the far side of the net, and another 3 points in the bag as we move forward and look to build on this run-in for a promotion push. And this could be absolutely huge. We've come from a goal down to get 2-1 up. Mayer just giving the ball away edge of the box to Atete, the last player you want to give it to. He slotted it in. Cove 2-1 up, 51 minutes. Can we see it out? And a very fortunate finish is wrapped up a very, very vital victory at home against Falkirk, bringing the points total back down to 9 behind with 5 games to go. So 15 points behind, 9 points behind them, 15 points up for grabs. Huge tall order. This is massive in terms of securing ourselves as high a position we can in playoffs. We just need to go forward into these final 5 games, put in some really good performances, and hope that that's dented Falkirk in some way. Whether it can make them lose 3 out of 5 in the last, I don't know, but we just need to keep winning and see where we are come the end of the season. So massive, huge. Where has this form been? That's what I'm really asking. And unfortunately, we finally dropped some points away at Hamilton. But what is nice to see is Calais has finally got a work permit. He's made an appearance for us, and he's got himself a goal to boot as well. So despite it being a 1-1 draw and only a point, I mean, we're still 9 points behind Falkirk. We're still looking like we're going to get playoff place. It's about seeing out the end of the season and then get into the playoff games to see if we can make a real concerted effort to get into the top division. And another dominant performance, albeit only a 1-0 victory, with Odotai, the left back, getting the goal in a 1-0 narrow victory over Ayr. Looking like we've got it down to 6 points with Falkirk. Not seeing if they've finished their game yet. They were playing against Hamilton, so depending on how they get on, we might be within 6 points with 3 games to go. But again, it's still in the realms of the impossible, I think. And we're still looking at the playoffs. But just a couple of games to go, and then we can see how we get on at the end of the season. And we end the season with a 3-2 loss away at Livingston. Academic, because we'd already secured 2nd place. The game before we drew 1-1 with St Mirren, which essentially handed the title off to Falkirk. That meant we're playing for the playoff position, of which we were 4 points clear with 1 game to go. So all we've got left now is to get into the playoffs and see if we can be successful. And we're making hard work of the playoffs. It's the first leg. We're away at St Mirren, and Adeyemo has just got a header from a corner to bring it 2-2 on the night, bring us level before we go to the home leg. 18 minutes to go. Maybe we can get a winner. And so far so good in the playoffs. We will take them back to the home ground, and we'll face them in the 2nd leg for a straight playoff to see who wins in the playoffs for the place in the Premier League. Not sure how the playoffs work. I think we have to play the 2nd bottom team in the Premier League. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll see that as it comes out. But first thing to do is try and get past St Mirren. So up next is the home leg. And a slightly more comfortable tie at home sees us pick up a 2-0 win to win 4-2 on aggregate in the playoff against St Mirren. And then we'll find out if we have to play someone else or whether we get to go up. And there we go. As suspected, we will play Kilmarnock in the relegation playoff final. They're in the Premier League, fighting to stay in it. We're in the Championship, fighting to take their place. So we'll have that game. I'll bring you all the goals as they go in, and we'll see if we can upset the odds and maybe just nick our way through the back door up into the Premier League. And here we go for a first of a two-legged tie against Kilmarnock for a place in the SPL, the Scottish Premier League. Looking at the teams, I mean, I did some comparison of theirs to ours. Theirs is far and away better than ours, and I toyed with maybe changing the formation and going really defensive. But I figured this is just the way we're used to playing, so let's just go out, play our game. If we get something brilliant, if we don't, we just regroup and go again next season. It's still been a great season regardless. It's second in the league. This would be the icing on the cake if we could. It would be ahead of where we probably are in the promotion curve. There's potential of even a job offer coming through, so let's not put too much weight on the game. Go out there and just see what happens. And it is important to get off to a positive start on the home leg of these occasions, and we have done just that. Ball into Adiemo, he reverses it across the other side, puts us 1-0 up on 5 minutes. And building on that dream start, Kian Etete has put us 2-0 up from the penalty spot. Good work by Da Costa Gonzalez down the right hand side. He was felled in the box. Etete, I mean, keeper got close to it, but it was enough power to put it in the top right hand corner. 2-0. And Rakwan Nelson has scored an absolute perler to put us 3-0 up, taking it on the edge of the box, just getting the yard on his man, flinging it to the far corner, keeper left belly up in the floodlights, and it's in off the crossbar to make it 3. Come on, the Cove. Then, unfortunately, Kilmarnock have got one back with 15 minutes to go. Hopefully, we don't do a capitulation like we have done in recent weeks, where we let a 3-goal lead slip. Unlucky, really. I mean, one defender could have cleared it. I think the keeper had it covered, but 3-1, 15 minutes to go. And just as we're going into injury time, a ball through the middle, Onaguka getting on it, smashing it in the back of the net, 3-2. So our 3-goal lead that we had with 15 minutes to go is down to just a single goal that we can hopefully take into the second leg. 4 minutes of injury time to get through, just so we've got something to hold on to. We have had a goal disallowed in this game as well. At one point we could have gone 4-0 up, but I think we're just going to have to take a 1-goal lead into the second leg, and hopefully we can have another performance like we did in the first half and get ourselves up into the SPL. And here we go, second leg, a biggest game of the save so far. A place at the SPL in the balance here. 1-goal advantage over Kilmarnock, but we're going to their ground this time. Starting lineup's there for you to see. Pretty similar to last time, but Carroll misses out for Green. Just he's a little bit unfit following the previous game, so we're going to go full strength as much as we can in terms of fitness. I know it looks a little bit jaded, but without further ado, let's get in there and see if we can end the episode with a bang. And just like in the first leg, we found the breakthrough, this time on the 43rd minute. Similar goal. Adiemo played through, one-on-one with the keeper, slots it to his left, puts us 1-0 up, restores the 2-goal advantage. Let's see if we can get this put to bed. And straight after half-time, Kilmarnock have got a goal back. Gary catching the ball inside. It's some very lacklustre defending on that left-hand side, or right-hand side. Garrity puts it through. And similar to the last game, a deflection off the centre-half, stopping the goalkeeper saving it. Bit frustrating, but still only 1 goal in. And the final whistle goes after both teams hitting the post numerous times. It finishes 1-1, so we win 4-3 on aggregate, securing a place in the SPL. So I'll get through and I'll do the end-of-season review, look at the players who've helped us get here. And next episode, we can look forward to being in the Premier League and seeing if we can really buck the odds just by staying in there. So I'll be back very shortly. And our prize for getting promotion is a new contract, but looking at the initial budgets for our first season in the Premier League, we've got a transfer budget of 0 and a reduction in wage budget of £2,000 per week. So this is going to be a rough ride at best. The positive thing is we are going to turn professional again, though, which is massive because it helps us retain the players a little bit better than we have been. But yeah, it's going to be a very tumultuous summer as we rebuild for what could be a very challenging season. And here we go then. So a brief summary of how the season went. We were expected to do slightly better than we did the first season. We were no longer relegation candidates. We expected to probably challenge for playoffs. We'd assembled a really good squad, albeit we lost our best player just before the start of the season and changed to a 2-up-top formation, bringing Adiemo in. So there was a bit of a turnaround, but we've done all right. In terms of the Scottish Cup, got to the 4th round, knocked out by Livingston, who were in the same division of us, which is a bit of a disappointment. In the Premier Sports Cup, knocked out in the quarter-final by Dundee United. I don't think there's any great shame there. KDM Evolution Trophy was the worst one. We got knocked out by Clyde. That was when we were in a really bad patch of form coming into that kind of November time. In the Championship, we finished 2nd overall, which was good enough to get us a playoff semi-final spot before we then beat Kilmarnock in the final, securing a place in the SPL. And that's where the ultimate success of the season lies. It doesn't matter that we didn't finish top. Falkirk were just phenomenal, and we did well to get them as close as we got towards the end. But securing the place in the top division is what it was all about. That's the next part of the journey. Looking at the squad and the players we've got there, I think we've assembled a pretty handy squad, really. Relying a little bit on some of the young keepers coming through, of which we've got another a 15-year-old keeper coming through with even more potential than Antonio Sheeran. So Nicky Bell comes in. He's got some whopping potential, up to 4.5 stars. So hopefully he'll come good on that. So we'll get him out on loan over the next couple of seasons. Harvey Davies had a brilliant season in goals, 49 games. I mean, just absolutely phenomenal performance. I don't know why his average ratings aren't in there. That's what I want to see. So in terms of the average rating, Harvey Davies 6.94, not bad for a goalkeeper. Oliver Green and Lewis Carroll, key players coming on loan. One from Aberdeen. Oliver Green was originally Aberdeen, but he's now come from Dundee United. 7.05, 7.16 respectively. Again, I'll do everything I can to try and get them to come to the club. Neither of them are out of contract, so it's going to be a loan if nothing else. Lewis Monsma, he wants to leave. I'll try and convince him to stay a bit longer. 7.16 is that rotational option. Going down to Sean Rooney, he's going to leave the club. 7 average, but he's only got a 2-star potential. And at 32 years old, I think it's time to move him on. He's done great for us, but we'll let him go. Odatayu took a little bit of time to get going, but he's played a 7.41 average. We'll keep him. Evan Towler wants to leave now, mostly because Odatayu has taken his place, but we'll let him move on. We've got Ratchwell, who's the former Celtic player we signed on a youth contract. He'll be floating around the squad next season. Alex Ferguson has backtracked on leaving the club. He signed a new contract, so he's going to stay. We've got Gonzalez, had a phenomenal season out on the wing, 7.29 average. Nelson had an all right, if not spectacular season, rotating. So Gonzalez, Nelson, and where's the other one? Cabia. They're rotating around really. Cabia having the lowest average of the three, but in terms of wingers, really good. Kalia, he's got a work permit now, so he can integrate into the squad. So we've got 3 strikers now. We've got Adeyemo Atete, who I both think are both Premier League ready. 23 goals and 21 respectively in there. Gonzalez getting 10 as well. So as a squad as a whole, I think we've got goals all over the place. We're still a little bit shaky in terms of conceding. I think we still need to bring in some more permanent centre halves. We can't be reliant on loan signings forever. Although I think in this next season it's going to be pretty pivotal to bring in some players, especially considering the transfer budget's so low and the wage budget's low. In terms of players who'll be leaving us at the end of the season, I mean McGrath, Goodliff, Rooney, and Towler are the only 4 really. So it's not too much of a rebuild as such, but I think it's going to be very difficult to try and compete anywhere near above the bottom couple places. And realistically, we just want to avoid being in them kind of relegation and playoff positions as we look to build the finances of the club and start moving up the table. So that is it in a nutshell. We've made it to the SPL. It's been a fantastic season. Despite the shaky bit in the middle, but we've got next season to look forward to as Cove Rangers make their debut in the Premier League. So until next time, enjoy yourselves, enjoy football, enjoy Football Manager, and I'll see you soon.